Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Saturday, March 31st, 2018. Today I'm going to recap the women's Final Four, two great games, and pick the men's Final Four games that are taking place today. I will also recap yesterday's Major League Baseball action and look ahead to today's action in baseball. Recap last night's NHL action, look ahead to tonight's NHL action. NBA recap from last night, look ahead to tonight's NBA games, and I'll close the podcast by doing the 2016 NBA ReDraft. To college hoops we go. To the women's side in the Final Four, Mississippi State defeated Louisville 73-63 in overtime. I had Louisville, but I forgot to give out the picks for the women's games on the podcast. I had Mississippi State as Victoria Vivians put up 25 in the win, and Asia Durr put up 18 in the loss. This was an outstanding game. Mississippi State outscored Louisville 14-4 in overtime. And the pick I got wrong was the second game. Notre Dame upset UConn 91-89 in overtime. I had UConn. They lost. Excellent win for Notre Dame. Jackie Young put up 32 in the win. Enrique Ogunbowale jumper from the corner with 1 second left was your game winner. Nafisa Collier put up 24 in defeat. As for the second straight year, Gino Auriemma's team loses in the Final Four. The picks for tonight's games. The first one you have in the men's side, Loyola Chicago against Michigan. Loyola Chicago from the South region, Michigan's in the West region. This should be a very fun game. The Ramblers are coming off a dominating Elite Eight win over the Kansas State Wildcats. The Wolverines are coming off an Elite Eight win over the Florida State Seminoles. Clayton Custer, Ben Richardson, Marquez Towns, and Dante Ingram lead the Cinderella team to this spot, but I believe their dream season comes to an end against the better Wolverine team, led by Muhammad Ali, Abdul Rahman, Moritz Wagner, Jordan Poole, and Duncan Robinson. The pick, Michigan. One-seeded Kansas against one-seeded Villanova. Kansas is of the Midwest. Villanova's in the East. The Jayhawks are coming off a classic overtime Elite Eight win over the Duke Blue Devils. The Wildcats are coming over a comfortable Elite Eight win over Texas Tech Red Raiders. The Jayhawks are a very good team led by Devontae Graham, Malik Newman, Aduka Azubuike, and Sylveslav Milichuk. But the Wildcats are just way better, led by Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and Phil Booth. The pick is Villanova. All right, Major League Baseball recap from last night. Some good games last night. The Pirates defeated the Tigers 13-10 in 13 innings. This was an afternoon game that was a makeup game because this was supposed to be played yesterday. The Pirates are 1-0. The Tigers are 0-1. But let's face it, the Tigers should have won this game. But the replay review saved the Pirates by the fact that Francisco Cervelli tagged out what would have been the game-winning run, or the replay review said that he did, but he might have clipped him on the shirt, but they called him out, and it was the worst call of the early season thus far. Detroit got it started in the bottom of the second with a double by Jose Iglesias that made it 1-0. Then an RBI double by Dixon Machado. Pittsburgh gets on the board in the top of the fourth with an RBI single by new addition Corey Dickerson. And then also in the fourth inning, Pittsburgh takes the lead on an RBI double by Francisco Cervelli that scored in two. In the top of the sixth inning, RBI single by Josh Bell. Bottom of the seventh, game tying, 2 runs batted in, double for Miguel Cabrera. Then the Tigers take the lead on an RBI single by Nick Castellanos. Then, also in the bottom of the seventh, Nick Castellanos scored on an error by Josh Bell, where Victor Martinez was safe at first base. Top of the eighth, RBI double for Gregory Polanco. Then Josh Bell ties the game with a sacrifice fly. Top of the ninth, RBI single for Francisco Cervelli. Then Cervelli scores on a pass ball, make it 8-6. Then 2 runs scored on an infield single by Josh Bell. Jordy Mercer scored. Then Harrison scored on a throwing error by Dixon Machado. Then in the bottom of the ninth, here come the Tigers. RBI double that scored in 2 for James McCann to make it a 2-run game. And then another double that ties the game for Dixon Machado that scored in James McCann and Jose Iglesias to make it 10-10. And then the no call happened, I believe, in the bottom of the 11th. And then the top of the 13th, big home run, 3-run shot for Gregory Polanco, his first of the year, 13-10 final. The Nationals defeated the Reds 2-0. The Nats 1-0. Cincinnati's 0-1. Max Scherzer with the win. Homer Bailey with the loss. Sean Doolittle with the save. Unbelievable outing for Max Scherzer. Only 2 runs scored in the top of the first. Zimmerman, RBI ground out. And then at the top of the ninth, Brian Goodwin with the sacrifice fly. Max Scherzer leaves with a 0 ERA, 5 hits in 6 innings, 1 walk, and 10 strikeouts. As I mentioned, Sean Doolittle with the save. Homer Bailey pitched a fine game for the Reds. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 balls, and 3 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 1.5 ERA. That's a good sign for the Reds. Maybe he has a good season. The Yankees defeated the Blue Jays 4-2 to improve to 2-0. Toronto drops to 0-2. Masahiro Tanaka was brilliant. He got the win. Aaron Sanchez got the loss. Aroldis Chapman with the save. Top of the second inning, Brandon Drury, RBI double, 1-0 New York. Bottom of the second, Randall Grichuk hits his first as a Blue Jay to make it 1-1. Top of the fourth, Drury again, this time an RBI single. And then top of the sixth, Tyler Wade, 2-run score on an RBI double, 4-1. Bottom of the ninth, Aroldis Chapman had a shaky bottom of the ninth. He gave up a RBI double to Yan Hervis Solarte. And a note, Aaron Hicks on the disabled list for the Yankees. He strained a muscle in his leg. He'll be out until May at least. And that's secretly a loss for the Yankees. He was the starting center fielder. Now Brett Gardner moves to center field. Billy McKinney was called up. He's going to be playing left field for them. And don't rule out the possibility of Aaron Judge playing center field on occasion. If guys were to need a day off and they put Giancarlo Stanton in right field. The Marlins defeated the Cubs 2-1 in a 17-inning affair. The Marlins are 1-1 and so are the Cubs. Chris Bryant got the scoring going for the Cubs in the top of the third with a homer to left. 1-0 Cubs. Bottom of the third, former Cub Starlin Castro with the RBI single. And then in the bottom of the 17th, the hero, Martin Rojas for the Marlins, as Brian Anderson scores the game-winning run, as the Marlins have a moment to celebrate this season. Kyle Hendricks pitched for the Cubs. He got a no decision. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 balls, or 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 1.5 ERA. And on the flip side for Miami, Caleb Smith pitched reasonably well. 5 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. Leaves the game with the 1.69 ERA. So that's a nice win for a team that's going to endure a lot of losing this season. The Red Sox defeated the Rays 1-0. The rebound from the disappointing opening day loss. They're 1-1, and so is Tampa Bay. David Price with the shutout gets the win. Chaz Rowe got the loss, and Craig Kimbrell with the save. The lone scoring of the game, an RBI single for Rafael Devers. I mentioned Price before. 7 innings, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts. He looked like the old David Price. He only threw 76 pitches, but that's an encouraging sign for the Red Sox, obviously with the 0 ERA. Blake Snell pitched well for Tampa Bay, 5 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Also leaves the game with a 0 ERA. The Phillies defeated the Braves 5-4 in 11 innings. Good bounce back win for the Phillies. They're 1-1, so are the Braves. The win, Daniel Hutchinson. The loss, Shane Carl. The scoring went like this. Top of the second, Rhys Hoskins, his first of the year, makes it 1-0 Phillies. 2-0 Phillies on a sacrifice fly by new addition Carlos Santana on the top of the third to make it 2-0. Bottom of the third, here come the Braves. New addition Ryan Flaherty, RBI double, 2-1. Sacrifice fly by Ender Inciarte, 2-2. Bottom of the fourth, Dansby Swanson singles to right. Scoring Kurt Suzuki, 3-2 Braves. Top of the fifth, Carlos Santana, his first homer as a Philly, 3-3. Top of the sixth, Nick Williams single. Aaron Altherr scores in the run, 4-3 Phillies. Bottom of the eighth, the Braves tie it. Preston Tucker singles to left. Freddie Freeman scores the tying run, 8 to make it 4-4. And in the top of the 11th, the game-winning sacrifice fly by Santana. Nick Pivetta pitched in this game for Philadelphia. He wasn't great. 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 6.75 ERA. Mike Folty units for Atlanta was okay. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.6 ERA. The Rangers defeated the Astros 5-1. They improved to 1-1. Astros are 1-1 as well. Doug Fister with the win. Dallas Keuchel with the loss. Nomar Mazara got it started for the Rangers. Homer to the center, make it 1-0 Texas in the bottom of the second. Bottom of the fourth, sacrifice fly by Robinson Chirinos. Followed up by a sacrifice fly by Rougned Odor. Top of the fifth, Astros get on the board with the double by Max Stassi to score in Evan Gattis to make it 3-1. Bottom of the seventh, Rangers score on an RBI double by Joey Gallo. Also in the bottom of the seventh, an RBI single by Elvis Andrus. Doug Fister pitched really well for the Rangers. 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 1.8 ERA. Houston, Dallas Keuchel did not have a good first impression. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.5 ERA. I mean, not good by Keuchel standards. He would expect to have a better start. The Diamondbacks defeated the Rockies 9-8 in another slugfest. Arizona's 2-0. Colorado's 0-2. Robbie Ray with the win. Antonio Senzalella with the loss. Brad Boxberger with the save. Bottom of the first, scoring got going right away. A.J. Pollock double the left, scores in 2. Make it 2-0. 3-run homer by Nick Ahmed makes it 5-0 Arizona in the first. Top of the second, Ian Desmond answers with a home run, 2-run shot to make it 2-5. Bottom of the third, RBI single by Chris Owings. Also in the bottom of the third, RBI single by Nick Ahmed. Top of the fourth, home run Gerardo Parra to make it 7-4. And then also in the top of the fourth, Charlie Blackmon ties the game at 7 apiece with the homer to center. Bottom of the fifth, the Diamondbacks retake the lead on a RBI single by Nick Ahmed. Also in the bottom of the fifth, on an RBI ground out by John Ryan Murphy. We go up 7-9. And the last of the scoring was an RBI single by Carlos Gonzalez. That was your scoring. 9-8's your final. Robbie Ray did not have a good outing. 5 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. He leaves the game with a 10.8 ERA. Tim Anderson did not pitch well for Colorado. 2 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 7 runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 27 ERA. Oof. Yet another 1-0 win for the San Francisco Giants. They're 2-0. The Dodgers are 0-2. And yet again, it's on a home run by Joe Panik. This time off of closer Kenley Jansen, who serves up the loss in this game. Tony Watson gets the win. Hunter Strickland with his second save in a row. Panik has both runs driven in for San Francisco this season on solo home runs. The Brewers defeated the Padres 8-6 to improve to 2-0. The Padres are 0-2. The win, Oliver Drake. The loss, Brad Hand. Corey Nebel with the save. The Brewers started the scoring right away with an RBI ground out by Ryan Braun, followed up by a double by Danny Santana. Bottom of the second, game-tying home run by Corey Spagenberg, 2-2. Padres take lead in the bottom of the second with a home run by Austin Hedges. Bottom of the fourth, Padres go up 4-2 and an RBI single by Miguel Margot. Top of the fifth, sacrifice fly by Ryan Braun makes it 4-3. Bottom of the seventh, the Padres go up by 2 with an RBI double by Asuje. Bottom of the eighth, they go up 3-6 by an RBI double by Eric Hosmer. Here come the Brewers in the top of the ninth. RBI single, Jonathan Villar makes it 6-4. RBI ground out by Lorenzo Cain to make it 6-5. And the go-ahead home run by Ryan Braun that makes it an 8-6 final. Great win for the Milwaukee Brewers. And the Angels defeat the Athletics 2-1. They're 1-1, and so are the Athletics. Tyler Skies with the win. Sean Manaea with the locks. Blake Parker with the save. Top of the first inning, Mike Trout homer, 1-0 Angels. Top of the ninth, RBI single by Justin Upton. And the bottom of the ninth, to make the game interesting, RBI single by Jonathan Lucroy. And it's your 2-1 final. Your slate for today, you have Pirates and the Tigers. You have Troy Williams and Michael Fulmer taking the mound for the Tigers and the Pirates respectively. You have the Cardinals and the Mets, Michael Wacha against Jacob deGrom. You have the Nationals and the Reds, Steven Strasburg and Luis Castillo. You have the Angels and the Athletics, Matt Shoemaker against Daniel Menden. You have the Yankees and the Blue Jays, CC Sabathia against Marco Estrada. You have the Astros and the Rangers again. This game's on FS1. Lance McCullers Jr. and Matt Moore. I'll pick the FS1 games. I'm going to say the Astros bounce back and get the win here with McCullers on the mound. So they improve to 2-1. You have the Indians and the Mariners. Carlos Carrasco against James Paxton. That's a sneaky good game. You have the Red Sox and the Rays facing off again. Rick Porcello against Andrew Kitteridge. Then you have the Twins and the Orioles. That is Kyle Gibson against Andrew Kashner. That has slugfest written all over it, that game. You have the Phillies and the Braves. It's Vince Velasquez against Brandon McCarthy. You have the Cubs against the Marlins. Yu Darvish. And the starter for Miami is undecided, as they probably used their projected starter for today in last night's 17-inning affair. You have the White Sox and the Royals. Lucas Giolito against Ian Kennedy. I'm interested to see how Giolito pitches. You have the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. Herman Marquez against Zach Greinke. Fascinated to see how Greinke looks after not having a good spring training. FS1 game between the Brewers and the Padres. You have Brent Suter against Luis Perdomo. It's an FS1 game. You know what? I like the Padres to get their first win of the season here. Home crowd. Eric Hosmer. I think they're just due for a win. So give me the Padres to upset the apple cart, because most people would think Astros and Brewers. So give me the Padres on national TV. And last but not least, you have the Giants and the Dodgers. You have Derek Holland making the start against Kenta Maeda. That should be interesting. I think the Dodgers finally get their first win of the season here, because I don't love the idea of Holland as a starter. NHL, real quick, couple notable results. The Lightning defeated the Rangers 7-3 in the return of Ryan McDonough and JT Miller and Dan Girardi at Madison Square Garden. The Rangers actually got the scoring going first. Brady Chase, 4th of the year, makes it 1-0 Rangers. Cedric Paquette's 4th of the year, 1-1. That was in the second period, as well as Alex Killorn's 15th of the year, 2-1 Lightning. Third period, here come the Lightning. JT Miller on the power play, his 22nd of the year, 3-1 Tampa. Cedric Paquette's 5th of the year, 4-1 Tampa. Braden Point's 29th of the year, 5-1 Tampa. Philip Chaidel's first NHL career goal, 5-2. Chris Kreider's 16th of the year, 5-3. Braden Point's 30th of the year, 6-3. Dan Girardi on a power play, his 5th of the year, 7-3 Lightning, and that was the game. Tampa's 52-22-4. The Rangers dropped to 33-36-9. The Maple Leafs defeated the Islanders 5-4. Toronto's 47-24-7. The Islanders 32-36-10. Anthony Bolivar kicked off the scoring 18 of the year, 1-0 Islanders. Nazem Kadri on the power play, 1-1. Johnny Boychuk on the power play, 2-1 Islanders. Toronto ties it up on the goal by Nikita Zaitsev, his 5th of the year, 2-2. Brock Nelson's 19th of the year, 3-2 Islanders. Mitch Marner ties it up for Toronto, 3-3, his 22nd of the year. Third period, James Van Riemsdyk's 36th of the year, 4-3 Toronto. John Tavares on the power play, 4-4, his 34th of the year. And in the game-winning goal by Austin Matthews, his 31st of the year, 5-4 Toronto. Matthews should be in the conversation for the Hart Trophy. The Hurricanes defeat the Capitals 4-1. This is an impressive win for Carolina, 35-32-11 on the year now. Capitals 46-25-7. Scoreless first period. Second period, the Capitals' own goal by Mikel Kempny, 1-0 Washington. That was only his 2nd of the season. Here comes Carolina. Derek Ryan's 14th of the year, 1-1. Justin Folk's 8th of the year, 2-1. Third period, Sebastian Aho's 28th of the year, 3-1. And then Brock McKinn's 16th of the year, 4-1 Carolina. That's your final. The Avalanche defeated the Blackhawks 5-0. Big win for Colorado. They improved to 42-28-8. Blackhawks 32-37-10. All Colorado. First periods. Sven Adorado, 7th of the year on the power play. Makes it 1-0. 2-0 on the power play goal by Tyson Barrie in the second period. Third period, power play goal by Mikko Rantanen, 28th of the year, 3-0. 4-0 on a goal by Tyson Josten, and 5-0 on a goal by Sven Adorado. And that's what makes it 5-0 final. 2-1 winners are the Ducks over the Kings in overtime. That's a good win for the Ducks, 40-25-13 on the year. The Kings dropped to 43-28-8. Drew Doughty's 10th of the year makes it 1-0 Kings. Second period, Nick Ritchie, 9th of the year, 1-1. And then in overtime, your winner by Ricard Raquel, 32 of the year. 2-1 winners are the Ducks. Golden Knights are winners 4-3 in overtime over the Blues. They improved to 49-22-7. The Blues dropped to 43-28-6. Patrick Berglund got the scoring going, 1-0 Blues. Short-handed goal by William Karlsson. His 41st of the year ties it at 1 apiece. Vegas goes up 2-1 on a goal by Jonathan Marchessault, his 26th of the year. Braden Shen ties it up 2-2 with his 26th of the year. Second period, James Neal puts up Vegas 3-2 with his 25th of the year. Chris Thoburn, his 1st of the year, ties it up for 3 for the Blues. And then your overtime winner by Jonathan Marchessault, his 27th of the year, to make the Knights 4-3 winners. Tonight's slate: Rangers, Hurricanes, Panthers, Bruins, Senators, Red Wings, Blue Jackets, Canucks, Jets, Maple Leafs, Islanders, Devils, Canadians, Penguins, Sabres, Predators, Wild Stars, Blues, Coyotes, Oilers, Flames, Sharks, Golden Knights. A bunch of big ones on the standings tonight. NBA real quick. Couple games from last night. Bulls defeated the Magic 90-82. Sixers beat the Hawks 101-91. Cavs beat the Pelicans 107-102. Big win for Cleveland there. Rockets defeated the Suns 103-104 on a buzzer beating 3 by Eric Gordon. Nuggets defeated the Thunder 126-125 in overtime. That's a big win for Denver. The Timberwolves defeated the Mavs 93-92. The Jazz defeated the Grizzlies 107-97. The Bucks defeated the Lakers 124-122. That's a big win for Milwaukee. And the Blazers defeated the Clippers 105-96. So I went 2-0 in Maddie's picks yesterday, correctly predicting the ESPN doubleheader. Tonight's slate: Pistons, Knicks, Hornets, Wizards, Raptors, Celtics. That's a big one for both teams as the Celtics try to close the gap on the Raptors for the 1 seed. If the Raptors win this game, it's over. They have the 1 seed. Heat host the Nets, and then the Warriors are at Sacramento. And we'll see. I don't know if the Raptors officially clinched the 1 seed if they win that game, but in my mind, they do. And last but not least, really quick, I want to do the NBA ReDraft from 2016. I'll be quick. Number 1, Philadelphia 76ers, Ben Simmons. No do-over for the Sixers as they take Simmons here in the redraft after he missed his first season, but he's been outstanding this season. His versatility in pass and rebound is what makes him special and what draws comparisons to LeBron James, the actual pick, Simmons. 2, Lakers, Brandon Ingram. The Lakers don't do a do-over here as they take their guy in Ingram. He's drawn comparisons to Kevin Durant in the past. I'm not sure if Ingram will eventually be at Durant's level or not, but he's certainly a part of the purple and gold's long-term future. The actual pick, Ingram. 3, Boston Celtics from the Brooklyn Nets. Jamal Murray. Murray's had a breakout year for the Nuggets this season as the Celtics take him here in the redraft. Murray can play both guard positions, and imagine him with Kyrie Irving in that backcourt with Gordon Hayward on the wing. The actual pick, Jaylen Brown. 4, Phoenix Suns, Jaylen Brown. Brown has been a solid player for the Celtics these last 2 seasons, hit some big shots for them, and he's a solid defender. Brown and Devin Booker on the wing in Phoenix would have been fun to watch. The actual pick, Dragan Bender. 5, Minnesota Timberwolves, Chris Dunn. Dunn looked like a bust in his rookie season, and then they traded him to Chicago in the Jimmy Butler deal, and now looks like a keeper for the rebuilding Bulls. Let's say the Wolves throw in a 2018 first rounder instead of Dunn in the Butler deal, and you would have had a nice foundation of Dunn, Butler, Andrew Wiggins, and Karl Anthony Towns. 6, New Orleans Pelicans, DeJounte Murray. Murray has very quietly emerged as one of the league's underrated point guards because he plays on the Spurs, who are just cruising along in the Western Conference despite no Kawhi Leonard. Murray would have been perhaps the franchise point guard for the Pelicans in theory. They get rid of Jrue Holiday. The actual pick, Buddy Hield. 7, Denver Nuggets from the Knicks, Malcolm Brogdon. With Murray off the board, the Nuggets go with Brogdon, who proved to be a second-round steal for the Bucks as he won the Rookie of the Year honors last season. Brogdon would have been a nice fit with Gary Harris in the backcourt. The actual pick, Murray. 8, Phoenix Suns from the Kings, Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis has been a nice player for the Thunder and Pacers these last 2 seasons and shown a ton of potential. In this redraft, I have the Suns taking Jaylen Brown, and so imagine him, Sabonis, and Devin Booker as your foundation. The actual pick, Marcus Chris. 9, Toronto Raptors from the Nuggets via the Knicks, Thon Maker. Maker's turned into a nice player for the Bucks over these last few seasons. In theory, maybe Maker turns into a possible replacement for Jonas Valanciunas. The actual pick, Jakob Poeltl. 10, Milwaukee Bucks, Buddy Hield. Hield has proven to be a nice piece for the Kings after the Pelicans traded him away for Boogie Cousins. Here the Bucks take Hield to pair in the backcourt, and would have been a fun watch with him and Giannis Antetokounmpo together. 11, Oklahoma City Thunder from Orlando, Dragan Bender. Bender hasn't quite lived up to top 4 pick status with the Suns, but has shown flashes of potential. Maybe a team like the Thunder would have used him properly off the bench. The actual pick, Domantas Sabonis. 12, Atlanta Hawks from the Jazz, Marquise Chris. Chris hasn't really lived up to lottery pick potential yet either, but has shown flashes. Chris and John Collins would have been an interesting front court in Atlanta. The actual pick, Tyron Prince. 13, Sacramento Kings, Skal Labissiere. Labissiere dropped in the draft for several reasons, but the Kings take their guy this high in the redraft. Labissiere is one of the more improved players from this draft class in terms of from year 1 to year 2. The actual pick, Georgios Papagiannis, the center from Greece. 11, Chicago Bulls, Jakob Poeltl. Poeltl has shown some potential and played some good minutes these last 2 years for the Raptors. He probably projects as a starter long-term in this league and certainly would start on this Bulls team in place of Robin Lopez. The actual pick, Denzel Valentine. 15, Denver Nuggets from Houston, Taurean Prince, small forward, Baylor. Prince has shown some nice play for the Hawks. He probably will be a keeper on the Hawks long-term. Prince could have very well been the Nuggets starting small forward with Will Barton coming off the bench. The actual pick, Juan Hernan-Gomez. Boston Celtics from Dallas, Juan Hernan-Gomez. Hernan-Gomez has dealt with a ton of injuries this season, but still has room to grow as a player. He would have been an intriguing fit on a Celtics team that's contending in the Eastern Conference and probably would have come off the bench for them. The actual pick, Dreshan Yabusele, the power forward from France. 17, Memphis Grizzlies, Caris LeVert. LeVert has been a good player for the Nets these last 2 seasons, especially coming off that foot injury. LeVert would have been a building block or even a trade piece for this long-term rebuild that the Grizzlies are about to endure. The actual pick, Wade Baldwin. 18, Detroit Pistons, Denzel Valentine. Valentine has been a solid player for the rebuilding Bulls this season and still has room to grow as a player. Valentine probably would have been starting on this Pistons team that seems to be stuck in mediocrity. The actual pick, Henry Ellison. 19, Denver Nuggets from the Blazers, Yogi Ferrell. Ferrell has been a diamond in the rough for the Mavs these last 2 seasons as a bench player. Ferrell would have been a nice bench guy for the Nuggets as well. The actual pick, Malik Beasley. 20, Brooklyn Nets from the Pacers, Fred VanVleet, point guard, Wichita State. With LeVert off the board and Jeremy Lin injured so often, the Knicks take Van Vliet here to either start for them at the point or to come off the bench. Van Vliet has been solid for the Raptors coming off the bench this season. The actual pick, Caris LeVert. 21, Atlanta Hawks, Tyler Ulis, point guard, Kentucky. Ulis has been solid as a backup point guard for the Suns as he started some games for him as well. Ulis would have been a nice backup for Dennis Schroeder in Atlanta. The actual pick, DeAndre Bembry, small forward, St. Joseph's. 22, Sacramento Kings from Charlotte, Bryce Johnson, power forward, North Carolina. Johnson could have been a nice bench piece throughout these last 2 seasons, but hasn't gotten the playing time. Johnson would have been a nice fit for a team like the Kings. The actual pick, Malachi Richardson, shooting guard, Syracuse. 23, Boston Celtics, Ante Zizic, center, Croatia. No do-over here for the Celtics as they draft an asset that they would eventually trade to Cleveland in the package for Kyrie Irving. Zizic hasn't had the playing time due to the surplus of bigs on the Cavs roster, but I won't be surprised if they give more playing time to Zizic next season. The actual pick, Zizic. 24, Philadelphia 76ers from the Heat via Cleveland. Malik Beasley, shooting guard, Florida State. Beasley hasn't had much playing time on the Nuggets due to their surplus of wings. The Sixers would have been a better spot for Beasley to be a bench spot. The actual pick, Furkan Kamaraz, shooting guard from Turkey. 25, Los Angeles Clippers, Henry Ellison, power forward, Marquette. Ellison hasn't really panned out for the Pistons, mainly due to the fact that he hasn't gotten much playing time. As the Clippers enter this rebuild, a guy like Ellison would have been worth giving a shot. The actual pick, Bryce Johnson. Number 26, Philadelphia 76ers from the Thunder via Cleveland and Denver. Vika Zubac, center, Croatia. Zubac has had his moments in a backup role at the Lakers. Zubac could have been a serviceable backup for Joel Embiid. The actual pick, Timothy Wawawu from France. 27, Toronto Raptors, Ron Baker, combo guard, Wichita State. With Van Vliet off the board, the Raptors take his former teammate in Baker, who's had some moments on the Knicks. Baker would have provided a similar spark on the Raptors to what Van Vliet has done. Actual pick, Pascal Siakam, power forward, New Mexico State. 28, Sacramento Kings from Phoenix via Cleveland and Boston. DeAndre Bembry, small forward, St. Joseph's. Bembry hasn't really panned out for the Hawks yet, as he's been sent down to the G League several times. If Bembry got proper playing time and development time, maybe for a team like the Kings, it could have worked. The actual pick, Scalabca, power forward, center, Kentucky. 29, San Antonio Spurs, Wayne Baldwin, point guard, Vanderbilt. With Murray off the board, the Spurs taking another point guard in Baldwin. It didn't work out for Baldwin in Memphis, and he's now on the Blazers roster and probably could have worked out well on the Spurs. The actual pick, DeJounte Murray, point guard, Washington. 30, Golden State Warriors, Paul Zipser, shooting guard, small forward, Germany. Zipser's proven to be somewhat of a second-round steal for the Bulls as he's done a nice job for them off the bench and even starting on occasion. Zipser would have been a fine wing off the bench for the Dubs. The actual pick, Diamond Stone, center, Maryland. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow with all the recaps for everything. I hope you guys have a nice day, everybody.